Three, live in five, four, three.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you on YouTube, Roku, Facebook, and my favorite Comcast Channel 190. This is What You Gotta Say. I'm Vincent Squire. Now, we've heard about the elite American fighting forces. We've got the Navy SEALs, we've got the Special Forces, the Army has an elite team, we even have a Delta Force. But everything. That's not where it started. Would you believe America's first Special Force elite fighting group was black, and their name, the Buffalo Soldiers? We're going to tell you the truth about the Buffalo Soldiers, and I've got the president of the South Jersey chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers with us. As usual, we'll start this in just 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Okay, we're out.
All right.
Make sure, Vincent, everything's closed out that you're not using because we're getting a little bit of lag on your end. Anything that's not doing with the stream, just close it out.
Okay. I dream. Edward, how would you like to be addressed?
Edward, my road name is Chip. However, I'm
Okay, and your title with the Buffalo Soldiers?
I'm the president of the Southern New Jersey Buffalo Soldiers.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you joining the show.
No problem whatsoever.
You can text some people or Facebook some people. They can find us on Comcast Channel 190, playing live right now.
Okay.
Or what you got to say. All right.
All right, 1 minute warning, gentlemen.
So we got 1 minute. As always, you just be your most authentic self. Tell the truth. And listen, if you have to worry about other people, then you're not telling the truth.
You have
All
to
right?
understand, I've been in the public domain for many, many years as a school board member, as a city commissioner, as an educator. I'm going to offend people, and I don't care.
There you go. I like you already.
All right, guys, I'm going to count you down from 5, stopping at 3, live in 5, 4, 3.
And welcome back, everyone. America has a history of an elite fighting unit that won many battles. But here's the worst thing about America's history. America seemed to have omitted their first truly elite fighting team. Now, after the Civil War, or during the process of, the Civil War, the now Emancipation Proclamation, and now the delivery of African Americans from slavery. What they don't talk about is the African American units that were in the Civil War. One of the most elite units ever for fighting during the period of the Civil War. That after Reconstruction, they never disbanded. That's the Buffalo Soldiers. Now, they were called the Buffalo Soldiers, and here is the thing: Buffalo Soldier. The lie about the Buffalo Soldier gives more credit to the true Buffalo Soldier. Case in point, here's the big lie about the Buffalo Soldiers. The lie is that they call the Buffalo Soldiers because of their hair. Now, anybody in the military knows that when you're in military gear, people can't see very much of your hair because you wear a hat. They were called the Buffalo Soldiers in my research was because of the actual group that they fought. One of the biggest people that they fought many battles was the American campaign against the Native Americans. Native Americans are true to be respectful of everybody, especially their enemies. They're respectful of their enemies most of all because their enemies is what in Native American history is called a good death, a fight, combat, warrior to warrior, where the best warrior wins. And even if the best warrior is an enemy, he is still respected as a hero to them. They were called the Buffalo Soldiers because of their tenacity, like the American buffalo, because they always charged forward and never retreated, because they protect each other. That was the name given to them by the American Native Americans. Now, with me, the president of the South Jersey chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers, Brother Edward. How are you, sir?
I am fine. Thank you for inviting me on the show, and I will do what I can to provide that information that people need to know about the Buffalo Soldiers.
Great. So, the Buffalo Soldiers were such an elite unit. Just two companies. I believe it was 9 and 10.
9th and the 10th.
They were so elite that they were requested by a man who was running for president to lead the charge on San Juan Hill.
Absolutely. Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
We always get to see Teddy Roosevelt going up San Juan Hill on his stallion, and he's got his sword in the air. And what history fails to tell people is that had it not been for the Buffalo Soldiers capturing that hill, Teddy Roosevelt wouldn't have been able to do that. So,
Whoa. So you're saying that these former slaves, military trained, charged this hill that was heavily fortified,
absolutely.
took the hill, and Teddy Roosevelt ran up there, charged up there for the photo op?
For the photo op, yes. Listen,
God bless America.
God bless America. We have so many stories like that of the Buffalo Soldiers who, as you said, were the elite fighting group, and they never got credit for it. And let me back up a little bit about about myself. I am a former teacher, history teacher, um, and it was funny because one of the school resource officers, a police officer who was in our school, protecting our school, said to me, I saw this group of motorcycle riders who wore this color that I'm wearing, this gold. And he said they were sharp and they were this and they were that. And I said, okay, so who were they? He said, I think they were called the Buffalo Soldiers. So we did a fairly good search, and we came up with the New Jersey uh, Buffalo Soldiers chapter in Willingboro, New Jersey. And at the time, the national president was also a member of that chapter. And those two gentlemen came to my house here in Wildwood, New Jersey, and they sat for probably an hour and a half talking with myself and one of the other members who was a founder with me of this chapter. And they said at that time, these are the guys we want. One, this gentleman, his name is Burgess Hamer. He was a police officer at the time. And they said, for me, because you're a history teacher, you know the history, and you don't have a problem talking in front of anybody because you do it every day. That's what you do. So moving forward, we became members, probationary members of the chapter. And there are certain duties that you have to do as a probationary member, certain number of rides, and so on. Well, that was not a problem for me. Um, the thing that I wanted to do was to get the Buffalo Soldier history out there. As a history teacher, I was not able to do a deep dive on Buffalo Soldier history because you had constraints for the year. And so we had to do uh, World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam. And by the time we got through all of that, we were actually out a year, out of time. And so I made it my habit every February, Black History Month, that I would teach about the Buffalo Soldiers, the Tuskegee Airmen, any military person that was a person of color. That's when I did it, and I always shortchanged the kids because I really didn't have enough time. At the end of the month, I had to get back on my curriculum so that I could finish it up by the end of the year. These students were juniors and seniors, and in New Jersey, you have a test. They have a test that they have to take so that they can graduate. So obviously, I had to get the work that would be on the test and get that out to them. So getting back to the Buffalo Soldiers, um, I we began riding with them. Began doing presentations, and I tell you what, it's something that is a joy to behold when you hear our people who did not know our history, and they all would say to me, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know that." I said, "Well, you couldn't know it because you were not allowed to hear that information when you were in school." When I was talking with you earlier, I always like to talk with the older folks because they knew who Teddy Roosevelt was. Now, I mean, the kids should know that, but the older folks, a lot of them lived through the Roosevelt presidency. They knew, or they were young when he was president, so they knew who he was. And they, to a person, would always say, "I didn't know he did that." And so I would enlighten them with that information and lots of other information.
Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, a little housekeeping, and we're going to come back and we're going to dive into some Buffalo Soldier history. Also,
Okay.
we want to talk about your chapter because you guys are doing some incredible things.
We actually are. We do some really good stuff for the community. That is what we do. I mean, you talk with any Buffalo Soldier, that's the thing they're going to say. That's what we do.
All right. And we're going to find out just what they do in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Peace.
Okay, we're on commercial.
Okay, you gave me a call?
We're getting some feedback issues. Edward, what's happening is the volume out of your phone is playing back into your speaker.
I have my volume all the way down. Okay, I'm turning it down again.
Okay.
Okay, you may have to mute it.
Well, then you wouldn't be able to hear us. Do you have like a headset or something you might be able to pop on?
Yeah, I'm down so low I can just barely hear you.
Okay. Do you have like a headset
All right.
or anything maybe?
Do you have a headset or another device on?
I have a headset that I can go get. Let me get that.
Okay.
All right.
Just because it's creating really bad feedback, it's hard for us to. We're hearing everything double.
Okay, back at the same time.
We have good timing. That's what it is.
Yes. All right. Okay, now that's good sound, whatever that was.
Okay, I just put the headsets in and
Okay, now that's working good. Now you
Okay,
need to
great.
come swing your camera over a little bit. There you go. Now you're center. Any way you
Right.
can elevate it so that you're looking directly at me rather than looking down?
Let me see. See if I can find something to sit it on.
See, we were so busy taking care of my tech issues, we forgot about you.
That's okay. That may be too high.
If you're on a laptop, you can just point it down a little bit.
I'm actually on my iPad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's. Let me see. I can find something around here. Maybe. All the books I have in the house and.
How's the tear deck looking, Vincent? Good? Everything good on the tear deck?
Everything's good over Pterodac.
Okay, cool.
Looking good on Comcast, actually. The
Nice.
graphics are nice.
Hey, man. That's what happens, man. You know how we
Great.
do it. All right, so we're looking much better now. Everything okay with you, Mr. Harshaw? Looks like it's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen a little bit. He's frozen a lot.
Yeah, his connection dropped. I'm just going to run the commercial again
Okay.
while we wait for his... Here he comes.
Okay, there you go.
Is that any better?
Yeah, it looks
Much.
good. Much better. Beautiful. All right, so
Okay.
let this commercial play out here, and then I'm going to count you guys down from... hold on, actually. Let me transition back into the graphic, and then we'll go. All right, 10 seconds, gentlemen.
Excellent.
All right, going to count you down from 5, stopping at 3, live in 5, 4, 3.
And welcome back. This is probably one of my favorite shows to do. The Buffalo Soldiers, America's first elite fighting unit. Now, according to the history, every major battle they had against the Native Americans, they called the Buffalo Soldiers. But most important, not only were they first to fight, but they had the fewest amount of casualties.
Absolutely. The the Buffalo Soldiers were skilled fighters. I mean, very skilled. And like you said, they were probably the first special forces group, and
Mm-hmm.
they went in and they did the job. The Native Americans got to, or they named them the Buffalo Soldiers because of the curly hair and the
Mm-hmm.
dark skin, just like the buffalo. Now, people would
Mm-hmm.
think that that's derogatory, but to the Native Americans, the buffalo was a revered animal. It was
Revered, very.
yes, uh, revered because, as you had said in the intro, the buffalo was a fierce fighter. He would not go down. They could shoot him with 20 arrows and he would still be charging. And
Mm-hmm.
they saw the same quality in the black soldiers that went out to the plains to help establish America. And so they began calling them the Buffalo Soldiers. And that name stuck. As a matter of fact, there was a Buffalo Soldier unit until I think it was the Korean War, and then it was disbanded. because no, it might have been before that, but they disbanded it because there were no segregated units.
Correct.
And so
they were disbanded 1949.
40, the
Yeah.
year I was born.
Mm-hmm. And then 1950, United States started the United States Army Special Forces Unit.
Yes. Now, as recently
What?
as the
But guess who trained them? Well, who trained them. United States Army started the Special Forces Unit, and they used the Buffalo Soldiers to train them.
let me just say that if you ever go to West Point, they have all kinds of memorials to the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah.
All of the military, just about all of the military tactics, the riding, the shooting, that was all done by, well, I shouldn't say all, but predominantly done
Majority.
by the Buffalo Soldiers. There is a
Buffalo Soldiers are in the United States College of the Generals.
absolutely. There is a building that was dedicated, and I don't want to say a date because I'm not really sure, but it was the stables, the horse stables that were taken care of by Buffalo Soldiers. They trained all the cadets riding, shooting, tactics, all kinds of things. So the Buffalo Soldiers were there. They were the first. They taught everything. I mean, and when they were out west, they did even more than that. They did things that most people don't even know about, like laying railroad tracks, like putting up telegraph lines, like
Yes.
establishing cities, building forts.
They were also in charge of security for stagecoach and wagon trains.
Absolutely. And like you hear people talk about it, but talk about the West, and they don't talk about what the Buffalo Soldiers did. Without the Buffalo Soldiers, the West would not have been.
Wouldn't they expand? There would have been no Western expansion.
And it wouldn't have been an expansion, right?
Well, because you look at it, the Buffalo Soldiers were the ones leading them in battle at every particular time. So the Native Americans recognized and knew the Buffalo Soldiers. So wherever there was a level of fear and respect where they didn't want to tangle with anybody being protected by the Buffalo Soldiers.
Absolutely. And wow, when I sit and think about some of this stuff, it just kind of blows my mind that I taught history for 40 years and I was unable to provide that information to my students. And
how is that possible?
It is possible because what the Buffalo Soldiers did was not important to the educational process. They did not find
important. They were important to the president.
Absolutely.
They were important to these Western settlers. They were important to these stagecoach drivers. Why were they not important to American history?
Again, from what I could gather, they just didn't want to tell how glorious and what spectacular fighters that the colored troops were.
So you saying it was a black thing?
It's a black thing.
What are your favorite stories about the Buffalo Soldiers?
I got a lot of them, but I think probably the most impressive one was Colonel Charles Young. If you didn't know, he was the third graduate of West Point.
West Point, yeah.
They ostracized him for 4 years. They did not talk with him. They would not study with him. And he ended up graduating like 67 out of 300 and some cadets. Yeah. And then when he was appointed, he rose through the ranks fairly rapidly. And then they decided they were going to put him out. They said that he was too old. He rode from Yellow Springs, Ohio. Yellow Springs? I got so much going on in my head. But he rode from Ohio to Washington, D.C. to show that he was still fit and capable of commanding troops.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we talk about it and say, well, Ohio, that's not really that far. But you got to remember, he did this on horseback.
Right.
He did this on horseback by himself. So,
where the average speed was 9 miles an hour.
If that much.
If that much, yeah.
So yes, that's one of my favorite stories. And as you know, he was just elevated to brigadier general posthumously.
Posthumous, yes.
And so that was a proud moment for all of us who are Buffalo Soldiers who go out and teach about him. And
how was he as a leader?
How was he as a leader?
Hmm?
Now, this is the information that I got. I traveled to Ohio last year, I believe it was, and there is a Colonel Charles Young Museum, and I visited the museum, and when I spoke with the rangers there who were presenting information, that was one of the questions that I asked. He was a very firm but fair officer. As long as you did what you were supposed to do, there was no problem. The troops loved him. And so he was very popular.
He was also the third highest in victories in battles.
Buffalo Soldiers, there we go again.
Mm-hmm.
There we go again. So, yes, he an amazing man, just an amazing man. And I will tell all the viewers and all the listeners, if you ever get a chance to visit the Colonel Young House in Ohio, it now should be General Young House in Ohio, please do. Please do. A lot of information about General Young that very interesting. So,
okay. So there was one Buffalo Soldier who crossed the lines. And when I mean crossed the lines, they found out that this Buffalo Soldier was a woman.
Cathay Williams. Very interesting story. She was a slave, but wanted to fight. And they told her, no, you can't fight. You're a woman. And so she changed her name to William Cathay. And apparently she was statured like a man. Again, the information that I got from Leavenworth, Kansas. And she could ride with the best of them. She could shoot with the best of them. She could do everything. And she ended up serving I think it was about a year, and she got sick. And the doctors found out that she was a female. And and they kicked her out. She ended up still serving. One of the commanding officers. She served as his nurse, as a cook, and so forth. So she never gave up the fight. She just continued in a different light. Um, it's funny because when I spoke with the curator at the museum, um,
This was in Fort Leavenworth.
Fort Leavenworth, yes.
Yes. Hey, you've got to see that museum. That is great. That is one impressive. Yeah.
Oh, they listen. They have so much stuff there that I did not get to see all of it. I took in as much as I could in a 2-hour period. Fantastic. I mean, some of the stories. There was a church right across the street from where the museum sits now, and that church had a bell tower that they would put a lantern in so that the slaves, escaped slaves, could see where they were going from the river. The river was probably like 500-600 yards away, but that's the way. They had an earthquake, okay? The earthquake tore everything down around that area except that church.
Wow.
I was blown away when I said, wait, hold on. So all the houses, they told me, yes, all the houses around it were destroyed, and they kept the bell tower. There also was a piece, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a piece that was on the inside of the church. The church has been torn down since, but they took this piece out of the church and put it in this museum. And again, for all the viewers and listeners, if you ever get a chance to get to Fort Leavenworth or Leavenworth, Kansas, this facility is it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Very impressive. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to find out about the South Jersey chapter of Buffalo Soldiers, what they do, and some events they may have coming up. And I'm Vincent Squire, my co-host today, president of the South Jersey chapter of Buffalo Soldiers, Edward Hurdle, and we'll be right back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Okay, we're on commercial.
Excellent.
Okay.
Brother President, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the migration of the desegregation of the United States military and where what happened to the Buffalo Soldiers and where they ended up. You know what my research shows?
Go ahead.
Hellcat fighters of Harlem.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. There was also another group, and the information escapes me now, but maybe before the end of the program, it'll come to me. Like I said, I have so many things going around in my head. It's amazing. My guys will let me go on for an hour at a presentation, and then I'll stop and go, wait, somebody else got to talk besides me. But they like to tell me, you got a big mouth. Go ahead. You can do it. So.
I get that.
Yeah, see? Hey. Birds of a feather.
There you go. Make this one a short one, Chaz.
Okay. You want to come back right now?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Harshaw, I never formally introduced you. This is my producer, Chaz Daly.
All right, Chaz, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Wonderful. All right, I'm going to count you guys down from 5, stopping at 3. Live in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. Edward Harshaw Shaw, president of the South Jersey chapter of Buffalo Soldiers. Now, this elite American fighting group, command performance, or not command performance, but every they called the Buffalo Soldiers. When there were important things west, they called the Buffalo Soldiers. When
Yes.
the Fargo, Stagecoach, and money was consistently being robbed, they called the Buffalo Soldiers. 2 units in the entire United States military, 2 units disbanded at the start of World War I. The United States Army starts their special forces unit for guerrilla training, the Buffalo Soldiers. Now, World War II comes along, and there is now desegregation. People of color are allowed into the United States military.
Yes.
Guess where my resources find some former members of the Buffalo Soldiers? Harlem Hellcat fighters.
Yep. Names change, but the faces remain the same.
One of the most fierce infantry units in the United States history. The Hellcat fighters from Harlem. The only completely unit of color that has a better record than the Hellcat fighters of Harlem and the Buffalo Soldiers are the Tuskegee Airmen.
Absolutely.
Never lost a bomb.
The Tuskegee Airmen, led by General Benjamin O. Davis.
I met him.
Oh, did you really? Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was old and could barely talk, but God, his spirit and his words left such an impression upon you. You feel like you could conquer the world listening to him.
And that's what he did with the Tuskegee Airmen. They trusted him when he told them that they should not lose a bomber. Do whatever it is you have to do, but do not lose a bomber. Obviously, it worked because they never lost a bomber.
Yes, and
the Germans were scared of the Tuskegee Airmen. Let me relay this story, and then I'll shut up for a minute.
No, go ahead.
At the end of World War II, the Germans developed a jet engine. They hadn't put it in service at this point, but a lot of the American pilots saw these jets and they were very scared because these things were flying at 400 miles an hour when our fighters could only do max out probably 250. And these things were flying at 350, 400 miles an hour. Couldn't catch up with them. Well, you know who caught up with them?
Tuskegee Airmen.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah.
I believe they actually took one down, or they damaged one and chased them off. I mean, these guys again were magnificent fighters. We talk about the Buffalo Soldiers. In the same breath, we need to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen. They were given second-hand planes. It wasn't until later on in like 43, 44 that they actually gave them new planes. And from the scene in the movie Tuskegee Airmen, where can't think of his name, the actor, he told him, paint the whole tail red so they'll know who we are.
Courtney B. Vance.
Courtney B. Vance, the Red Tails.
Red Tail.
And, yep. And so these guys were absolutely the best pilot. They tried to wash them out. They gave them exercises and training that they didn't give the white pilots, and they survived.
Not only did they try to wash them out, but the Tuskegee Airmen served 2.5 times longer than white pilots.
Yeah, they stayed on the European front for, I think it was like 16 or 17 months, something like that, when they were turning over at a rate of about 6 or 7 months, something like that, and they could never find enough to replace them. So what did they do? They fought on. And as we said, they never lost a bomber. B.O. Davis told them, we will not lose a bomber. And as I said, they trusted him. And they did exactly what he said.
Oh, correction. Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, yes, correct. I'm sorry.
Yes. David Iola, Cuba Gooding Jr., Nate Parker, Brian Cranston, Neo, Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the scene. The mechanic was like, they were putting on identification markers.
Yes.
And the identification marker was a red circle. And he said, Captain, you want me to continue? He said, no, paint the whole damn tail.
Yep. Paint the whole tail red. Yep.
You paint the whole tail red. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great movie for people who have not seen it. I would go to Netflix or wherever and watch both of the Tuskegee Airmen movies. You will be impressed. A lot of information provided.
So what now, the chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers, you guys do a lot of community work.
We do. This is our national. This is what we do. We, for example, my chapter, we started doing a comedy show about 8 years ago. We started in a VFW in Mays Landing, New Jersey. We had about 115 people, and we thought we were on top of the world. Last November, and we always do our event, in case you're interested in attending, we always do our event the weekend before Thanksgiving. This year, we had close to 500 people in Atlantic City.
Wow.
We rent out the Sheraton Hotel. We take up close to 200 and some rooms in the Sheraton from Thursday until Sunday.
Whoa.
And as I said, we had close to 500 people there this year, which is probably one of the bigger events in the country. And we have a meal, we have comedians, we have entertainers. Cedric Napoleon, who was at one point the bassist for Pieces of a Dream. He lives in Atlantic County, and my vice president and he are very good friends. And he comes in and he puts on a show. And for the price that we charge, which is $75, people get a fantastic they get a fantastic show. We pick up comedians out of the Philadelphia area, and we give them a forum so that they can show their craft. So I say all of that to say we take whatever funds we make and we do a Christmas giveaway for indigent people. We give gifts, we give meals, try to keep them in the Christmas spirit. We have a lot of young people who go, being an educator, so this is a lot of where this comes from. I see a lot of kids, I've seen a lot of kids who come to school and don't have gifts. They don't get anything. And all the other kids are talking about it. And so this year, we did 75 families, close to 150, 160 kids. So that is one event that we do. Another event that we do is we do a book bag drive every August. We provide young people. We've partnered with 4 churches, and we will give out close to 200, 225 book bags filled with pencils, papers, erasers, calculators, whatever they might need to succeed in school. And we just do it because that's what we do. Probably one of the best feelings that I've had, having formerly been in the military, was going
Thank you for your service.
Not a problem. There is we call it the Old Soldiers Home in Vineland, New Jersey. We started preparing kits with toothpaste and toothbrushes and lotion, hand sanitizer, anything we could get in the little bags. We provide that for these people. Shaving cream, aftershave, anything, and these guys love it. They love it. Unfortunately, the last couple of years we haven't been able to go in because of COVID, and so they will stand at the doors. We're under the canopy, and we're waving at them. We have pictures, and they come out with big carts. Some of the workers come out with the carts, and they take everything in, and they distribute it as far as it'll go. So let's see, what else do we do? We started a few years ago. We started giving out a scholarship because the national organization gives out a $10,000 scholarship to the best and the brightest. And so to participate in that, our chapter has to provide a scholarship to our local area. And so we have about 10 or 12 schools that have participated in our scholarship program. And we give out 2 or 3 $500 book scholarships. Now, $500 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're purchasing a book that's $70, $80, and that has to come out your pocket,
Oh yeah.
they're very grateful. So
oh yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes we get a request to buy coats or boots for kids.
Mm.
We'll go into the treasury and pull out a couple $100, and we'll take the kids to the store and shop for them. I'll have to send you some of the pictures. This year I was under the weather, so I couldn't do too much. I was just there, like, but we go to Walmart,
Mhm.
and we usually have about 10 or 12 of our people, and everybody has a cart, and they're buying and their list, and they're buying stuff for kids. And
Mm.
I think the greatest thing is when we go in, like we went into a housing complex in Millville, New Jersey, and they had about 50 kids in there, and we had all of their names, and we were giving them all kinds of gifts, pads, notepads, electronic pads, um, whatever their hearts desired, we could get for them. We did. And
Wow.
these kids they're blown away. The parents are blown away, and that's pretty much what we do. If it's somebody needs it, just call, and we'll make the effort to get there and help out.
So, President, tell the people out there, all of our viewers and listeners, how can they, make donations, or even if they want to join a chapter. I
Yes.
mean, I'd love to, but my wife won't let me get a motorcycle.
Oh, you see, you gotta get her on one of these big things and just ride around the block.
Okay, I think I'm going to do
But
that. My
okay, all
birthday's
right.
coming
There you
up.
go. There you go.
So,
People can go online to the Southern New Jersey Buffalo Soldiers.com. And on our website, we have a application, or you can send a letter requesting an application, and our secretary um, we will vet all of your information, and then we will send you a information form first, because you don't get an application. Once you have filled out the information form, then again we will vet that information, and we will invite you to come with us on some of our ventures, and that's called the hang around period. If you succeed through the hang around period, then we will send you an application for membership. Okay. And then you become a probationary member. And probation may last anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. You have to do rides. You have to participate in events. Uh, like all the stuff that we're doing, you got to participate. And then at the end of that 18-month period, up to 18-month period, we will invite you to become a full patch member. And then you can ride and fly the Buffalo Soldier colors like we do so proudly.
and how can people, if they want to participate in your next upcoming event? I believe it's in Atlantic City.
In Atlantic City, yes. Again, go on our website, Southern New Jersey Buffalo Soldiers.com, and all the information that you need to donate. And believe me, we appreciate the donations. And anybody out there who has any special projects in our area, and you like to talk with us about it, please feel free to contact me at that site, Southern New Jersey Buffalo Soldiers.com.
All
Um,
right.
all the information is there. And if
All right.
they can't do that, I'm going to give you my phone number, my personal cell number.
Oh, yeah, okay. Be careful now.
That's okay. Um,
Hold on. Before you put out your phone number, are you
Okay.
married?
I am.
All right, so don't even try calling for that, ladies.
Too old. Too old.
Okay. All right.
But
Go ahead.
my personal phone number, my cell number, is 609-408-3438. Again, 609-408-3438.
Okay, and we'll
If
post that also on this recording and rebroadcast.
Okay, great. Again, if anybody's interested, please feel free to call me. If I don't answer, more than likely, with the weather changing as it is, I'll be out on the motorcycle, and I may not answer. Just leave a message. Tell me who you are, what you're interested in doing, whether you're interested in becoming a member, whether you're interested in participating in our event, whether you would like to give us a donation. Feel free, and I will get back to you as soon as I get off the motorcycle, and I'll
Okay.
call you.
I got to attest to that. As soon as he got finished riding, he definitely called me. So, Brother Edward Harshaw, it's been an honor. And I had a great time with you talking about the history of our unsung heroes. Now, I'm hoping for much success in your events. And I'm also hoping I can get a ticket. So, but the more I do this show, the more I find out the history of African Americans are very much buried, marginalized, and unaccounted. We have such a rich history, but more and more we're losing it. We have to dig and find out for ourselves. We need to realize one of the most important things in understanding and studying this. The African American spirit is all in what we saw and what we heard about. It was Black excellence. It was unshakable, and it was undeniable. Let's keep that spirit going. Let's teach our children about excellence, not just doing it because they have to do it, but doing it to the best of their abilities. One of my favorite scriptures was that everything that you do to the glory of God. And in doing that, you reach a level of excellence. I'm Vincent Squire. Join us tomorrow with comedian Sandy Hackett on Freestyle Friday. People, Comcast, Roku, YouTube, God bless. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're out.
Excellent.